Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to record that Agita was on her corner there, and both the babies were on the bed. But just while I get the phone, the camera ready, Agita got up. Anyway, we had all four Rashids on the bed for about a minute. And two are here, and Agita is nearby. I think she's going to settle in the living room. She likes the inner tier of the cat condo there. Anyway, so far so good. I have a Zoom session with my analyst at 11, so I'm just going to relax with the kids and appreciate being here with the kids. Bye for now. Okay, I've got my laptop connected, and the Zoom meeting is going to start in a minute, exactly 1 minute. But I just wanted to show Agita is in the tent thingy, the rocket. Now, of course, they want to bug her. Why don't you just come on? Daddy's about to be on a Zoom session with the analyst, so why don't you guys just sit out here? Let your sister have some nice. She's been so accepting of you. She needs a couple of minutes in the rocket there by yourself. You don't have to try to climb in with her. It's not necessary. Anyway, so could have my Zoom session. Okay, bye for now. 1, 2, 3. In the rocket tent, and myself. Bye for now. Hello, everybody. I had my Zoom session, worked on the dream that I talked about before, and one baby there, one baby there. Agita was about to settle here. I don't think she realized that her brother was just on the other side of the chair, and of course he came to play, and now she moved. But we're all family time, the new level of family time with everybody in the same space. So, gave them brunch, had a stale grocery sandwich, and a cup of soup myself. Where are you, sweetie? Oh, there she is. Back to the spot. Having some candy. Anyway, I'm going to try to work on a journal entry. Maybe go for a little walk. We'll see. See for that. And then just staying with the kids. I don't know if I want to go out to eat or eat at home. We'll figure it out later. I think I've still got a little bit of leftover food from the Indian restaurant the other day. Anyway, from the four of us, bye for now. Oh, and I do want to, do an entry. I do want to talk a little bit more about some thoughts I had at Campbell's return. So maybe I'll do that later. Anyway, bye for now. Hello, everybody. It's a few hours later. I'd intended to work on journal entries. Instead, I fell asleep on the sofa. I guess I'm still tired from the previous dark journey, plus all of yesterday's driving, getting back. So, just resting, So Agita's there on her perch, and one baby is here in the bedroom. And the other baby is, I just saw him in the dining room, but I think he's moved. Went looking all over in the living room, but the second baby is there under the bed. I got one baby there, and Agita there. Now, I had an interesting session with my analyst and talked about some stuff, and I do want to talk a little bit about Joseph Campbell and and my thoughts about the return. I'll add to that my own model. But this is something I did a little while ago, remember? And things are kind of worse now. So I don't, I'm not doing this as a serious thing. No, it's not serious. No, I shouldn't say serious. But it's not one of those things where I'm going to go, oh, I'm going to, where is it? I take a card and that's going to influence what I think or what I do. But at this point, I don't think it can hurt. Let's see. And I don't know how to read these. I don't do, readings. I'm just going to do one of those random card picking things. So 1 second. Just shuffling there a little bit, and one of my kids is going to help. My mystical cat, you going to help me read the tarot? No, read. I'm just going to pick a card. Okay, 1 second. I'm going to shuffle a bit more. You going to climb on my lap? You going to sniff the book? By all means. By all means. Okay. Ouch. Sweetie. Now, okay. Oops. You want to come this side? You want to climb on your daddy's lap? Okay, I told you, I think, before that once a reader told me you should feel the heat from the cards, and I don't do that. But I just kind of go until there's a particular card and I feel, and I've gone. So I've shuffled a bit, and I kind of felt this one, this top one right now. This is the one that I think I'm going to pick. Let's see what it is. Strength, and there's a lion in it, a cat, look, kids, Daddy picked a cat card, a big cat card. Strength. Inner strength, confrontation with yourself or other people. Well, that's pretty appropriate, isn't it? The confrontation that has happened both with other people and myself, on that dark journey, and now particularly with myself, and there's a lot of confrontation, a lot of shadow stuff here. And there's a very positive cat energy there. We've been talking about, my friends have been talking about me as a cat, as a house cat. As a lion. Oh, and that's the infinity sign above, I used to talk about that in class. It used to come up in an example with when I used to do memory. I'll tell that story another time. But there is an infinity sign in it. So, okay, maybe I should look. I don't go very strongly about these things, but let me look up the card. Strength in tarot deck. So this is the eight of. What is it? What's the suit here? 8 of what? Okay, 1 second. Okay, as far as I can tell, I don't really know a lot about this. I've looked through them a couple of times, and I've had a couple of readings some time ago. But apparently, when you have it's like the Two of Cups or the One of Pentacles or the numbered cards. But there are other cards that are not. It's like the Star. That don't seem to have a suit. So Ace of Cups, Nine of Swords. The Fool. The Fool doesn't seem to have a suit, and Strength doesn't seem to have a suit. The Magician. So anyway, this is Strength. Let me just quickly look up online what it says about Strength in tarot. 1 second. Okay, just looked it up. It is a strength of the. It's a major arcana card, whatever that means. I think those are the ones that don't belong to a particular suit. So it's a major arcana card, and it's supposed to represent controlling one's inner animal nature and bringing controlling the raw emotions to bring calm to a situation. And there was another one that said, controlling our raw animal nature, and if we don't do that, it will eat us alive. No kidding. In my case, it's not really a lion. It's not a lion that is eating me alive. It's a werewolf that has now turned into a dragon that needs to be controlled with the inner strength, with my inner lion, So anyway, as I said, I'm not going to take it very seriously, but it's kind of fun. Last time I did this, my friend in the other province said she doesn't know much about tarot, but she said, if it makes you feel better, anything that works for you, fine, go ahead and do it. So, that's kind of, I don't know, interesting. So I personally think it was kind of an appropriate card to pick right now. So, I kind of, things there are a lot of raw emotions, and I need to calm a bit. I need to control, the whole animal nature. But as I said, we're not talking about, calming a lion here. We're talking about dragon. We've kind of gone to another level here with the animal emotion things, Anyway, I'm going to try to make a journal entry and then see if I can at least do a little bit of writing, just a little bit. I'm going to get back into that, Okay, bye for now. I'm just going to relax with the kids. Bye for now. It's a few minutes later after I picked the tarot card, and one of the babies there. Agita's in her room, and I am sitting on the ego chair, which I suppose is a good sign. I haven't sat on this in quite some time now. So it looks like the ego functioning is starting to return gradually. But I had some thoughts, and I'm just going to share these and see what see where I go with it. Discuss some of this with my analyst in the session, but and I'm going to try to write about this, because if I write about it, I can provide more details and play with it more. But while I'm doing this publicly, I will say back to my model of return rather than recovery, and I've been using Joseph Campbell and the so-called hero's return or anti-hero's return from the underworld, from adventures, from from the dark, and there are 12 steps, 12 stages. 12, often 12, 12 thingies. But anyway, you got 12 steps, 12 stages, 12 disciples, all that kind of stuff. And anyway, but here we're talking about Campbell has the 12 stages of the heroic journey, so to speak, that can be used to, to apply to stories, myths, and individual, paths, processes. It's just a metaphor, not a literal thing. And it's like that. I'm using it as a framework, as a symbolic sort of, framework. Not literally, but and that's a danger with any of these things, is once you start taking them literally. But just in terms of looking at addiction and return, rather using this model, my return model, rather than the recovery model, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to help me come back. It's not going to make this process any easier, but it's just my framework for how I organize things and see things, and so. In terms of the return model, and I've talked about this before, I've talked about Campbell much earlier podcasts, how the hero, first of all, doesn't heed the call, and then something happens, they have to go on this journey. To another planet, or whatever. If we're taking a space story, or go find the dragon, that kind of ended up doing in the long run. But you have to go, slay the dragon or whatever. And first you're going, I don't want to do that. That's not my. And then something happens, and then you have to go on the journey, and then and then you meet foes and allies, and there's a mentor, and there's a father, and you have to atone for the father, and all this kind of stuff. And then there's a dark cave, and there's a brush with death, and then very often the hero doesn't want to return. The hero, anti-hero, we've talked about that, because of the unimaginable delights and the unspeakable horrors. But there's both, and there's, like with Odysseus, there were so many times that he could have just stayed with Sisera. I always have trouble saying the Sisera, or Calypso, or whatever, And there were the lotus eaters in the Odyssey. There were the lotus eaters, as men became drug addicts, and you had to tie them up and get them back on the ship and all of that stuff. So there are various trials and tribulations, and I've talked about this before. Odysseus returned for his family, the wife and his son, and I'm returning for my family. There was the other family there, and Agita in her room. So that whole thing, just in terms of a framework, but even on the road to return, and there's a brush with death again, and then there's sort of a resurrection, and I don't like these are somewhat religious, imagery, the death of the old self, but and then the resurrection of and you come back with the insights, and having been through, those ordeals, and having tasted the pleasures and the pains, the unspeakable horrors, unimaginable delights, all of that stuff. There's that battle with the whatever, and you come back with the boon or elixir, and insight. It could be insight. It could be a book that comes out of it. It could be saving the human race. In my case, it's not the human race thing, but it's more like insight and my own path to my own self-awareness, and my writing, and my podcasts, and my whatever, just my own path, And so there's all of that. But when you return, supposedly, the hero or anti-hero, having been through all of that, I think in Campbell's terms, then becomes the master of two worlds. So the master of the spiritual and the outer world, the ordinary world, what I've been called ordinary world. Now, as you know, the whole spiritual thing and religion is not my thing, and I don't really like even the word spiritual. But in previous podcasts, I've called that the inner world, So all the shit that's coming up, a lot of inner stuff, the inner world and all of, sort of balancing the two, living in both worlds at the same time, the inner and the outer, and that actually relates to also Kundalini, and I think there's the chakra between the eyes, and there's the chakra at the top of the head, and there's and I think the fourth chakra is the one, the heart chakra, the inner chakra. So anyway, you can put some of these things together, but at this point, I'm just going to say that as a framework, part of, I suppose, my task of this, that was a very dark journey. That was, I sort of encountered the other side and came very close to death, and then coming back, and as I said, I don't use the term spiritual the way that most people do, but I do, the whole inner world, and I do see, connections between things and paths, and there's a whole story I may tell about how the shift happened for me about 30 years ago when I first started seeing a Jungian analyst, not this one, but another Jungian analyst, and I started seeing synchronicities. And, until then, I considered myself an existentialist or nihilist, and my whole thing was nothing matters, the kind of nihilistic creed. But after, and back then I was struggling with alcohol use and various things, and it was also a dark period, a different kind of dark period. But I ended up, seeing a Jungian analyst, started seeing synchronicities. That analyst wasn't the right person for me. It was not a good mix. But then I ended up finding my current analyst. That was 30 years ago. So, and I was teaching at the time, and a lot of other things were going on. But and then I started writing about my experiences with addictions, including alcohol, and how I stopped for 20 years, and gambling, and my parents were here, and my relationships with them, and all of that stuff. And so I started writing about all of that, and I was teaching, and then so this whole spiritual world, inner world, outer world, and dreams started. See, when I talk about the spiritual world, you know how I look at my dreams, and I talk about red dreams, and I see significance in them. Well, that's part of the inner world, And I did share a couple of dreams in an earlier podcast. So anyway, that's part of the task now. I've come back from, and this was like a brush with death, and this is like now coming back to the outer world. So part of this ordinary world is, as I said, dealing with ordinary world things, and going out, seeing the accountant, and going to meet my contractor, and trying to find another place, a safe place to live in the town that I think, and people have commented on how it looks like a nice, quaint little town. One of my friends said, I can see why you want to spend more time there now and find a house, closer to town. And so all of this in terms of this particular return to the ordinary world, and how I'm organizing it and planning it, and I want to put some, redirect the energy, rechannel the energy into, getting the current house fixed up. I got to finish the bathrooms, buy the faucets. I can't do the work myself, but I can buy the stuff. So that'll, so I get that house ready, sell it, find a house, a nice family house, because I'm returning for my family, So I find a nice family house in that town, and and sort of set up. This is after my trials and tribulations. They'll still be, but this is what I'm coming back. I'm trying to come back to this ordinary world, knowing, kind of integrating the spiritual, and it's a very dark. I mean, when I say spiritual, I'm talking about more Dionysian, very dark stuff that has come up. Very, very dark. Anyway, just some rambling thoughts. I'll see if I can work on this more. And this. And as I said, not to be taken literally. It's like this. It's just frameworks. Just ways of sort of understanding one's journeys. Anyway, bye for now. Talk to you later. I'm going to see if I can write. I'm going to, maybe it'll be a bit more coherent if I can write this out, some of the stuff, some of these thoughts. Anyway, bye for now. Still sitting here and thinking about what I just said, and I did want to add something. Remember how I said, I don't want to take this spiritual stuff, possession stuff, literally, because I've been talking about compulsion. And a friend of mine, that was how she saw the framework. She doesn't like the people who say, oh, it's up to you, you can just change, you have to put your mind over it, and then once you decide you're going to stop, it's just going to happen. And a couple of people have told me that. As I said, they mean well, but these are the completely non-addictive people. Now, my friend is non-addictive also, but she's cat-like, so she rescues cats. So she knows about feral cat stuff. So she kind of gets this a bit more. So anyway, but she sees it more in terms of the, the compulsion, possession aspect. She goes, if somebody breaks a leg, you don't say to them, well, put more weight on that leg and walk on it, and then it'll get better. It's like, put as much weight as you can on that leg, and then everything will be fine. Just as mind over matter. I know people who do actually think like that. But anyway, yeah. But my friend was saying, this whole, she kind of gets that, even though she's not addictive herself. She gets the fact that you don't want these things to happen, but you can't stop yourself. So it's possession, compulsion, is something that, it's a bit of a complicated issue, and I'll come back to it later. But just while I was talking about, I've talked about compulsion, I've talked about possession, and earlier my metaphor was the werewolf, and now it has escalated. The possession is the dragon. It's it's beastlier. It's much more powerful. It's much much harder to get out of. But again, metaphors, But while I was talking about that, I have mentioned before William S. Burroughs, the writer who wrote Junkie, and he was a heroin addict. And one of his books was Naked Lunch. It's made into a movie by David Cronenberg. And he was in Mexico. He was very, very high on heroin, and he put a glass on his wife's head, and he tried to shoot the glass off, and he killed her. He blew her brains out. And then he kind of escaped from there to Algeria. And wrote a lot of books, part of the Beat generation. So beat writers like Allen Ginsberg and Jack Kerouac, they're all, friends, and they all influenced each other. But he lived to the age of, I think, 92, and, but one of the things I wanted to mention was that Burroughs was he was into spiritual, mystical stuff in his own way, and he took this literally. He actually believed that he was possessed by a spirit, that his drug addiction, his addiction, and his other stuff were caused by an actual spiritual possession, and it was a dark demon, and I think it had a name. I was reading about him. I've actually read quite a bit about him, and I was reading a biography of his a couple of years ago, and then I went on my own Burroughs path. But I haven't named my demon or anything. But he really seriously believed that he was possessed, and he would do. I think he did. What is it? Seances? And he believed in voodoo too. If somebody pissed him off, I think he'd put a spell on them. He did voodoo and stuff. But he believed that he was actually possessed by a evil spirit, and I think that came from his having killed his wife. When he killed his wife, I think that opened the door, and he got possessed, and then he did. I don't know if he did exorcisms or something, but he was really into this stuff. He took it a bit more literally than I do. I'm taking it a little bit more metaphorically. At least I hope I am. Anyway, bye for now. Good morning, everybody. It's about 10 o'clock. During the night, I think the babies, both of them slept on the bed with me. They were by my feet. And I think Agita was in her travel case. But right now, and in the morning, I think there was a little bit of, I think somebody tried to get friendly with Agita. And Agita was, I heard some hissing and some growling, but I think everything was okay. I just I was mostly asleep, but I checked and everybody seemed okay, so I just went back to sleep. And now, one baby is very nicely sleeping in this tent next to me, and the other baby is on that perch over there, in the hall, and Agita is there in her favorite spot, the little nest just outside the closet. So we're all pretty much not quite in the same room, but pretty close to the same room. So, and this one let me pet him. I had my hand right inside the tent, and he was sleeping on my hand. So, like this, So anyway, I'm gonna get up, and I think I'm gonna go out and do a little, shopping. I need that faucet for the kitchen sink, and so it's one of the things to keep me busy for my current house. So I'm going to start looking at and I told my contractor that when I do this stuff, I check 2-3 places, and I kind of get the best sink I can get at the best price. I've done this before. I had three properties in Niagara, and then I've had a couple of properties after that. So right now, the only one I have is that house out in the country. But it does need some more stuff, and my contractor was very helpful. He was going, well, don't buy everything at once. You need to get some faucets. He said, buy one faucet at a time. It'll kind of give you a focus, and I don't mind. I like going out to look for stuff. So better than looking for other kind of stuff. But anyway, I'm gonna go and have some breakfast, and I need a bit more grocery stuff like that. Probably one of the cars needs washing. So anyway, that's the plan for today. First, I'll feed the kids, spend a bit more time with them, and then head out. Bye for now. Actually, spend some more time with them, then feed them, then spend some more time with them, and then head out. Okay, so from the 4 of us, 1, 2, see you there, 3, and myself, 4. Bye for now. Hello, everybody. Agita sitting in my spot on the sofa, which is fine. One of the babies is there on the dining table. One of the babies here beside the ego chair. I'm going to sit on the ego chair here, and I'm going to make a very brief morning entry. It's about 1:30, but I'm going to make a very brief written morning entry, which I haven't done in a while, just to get back into routines and record my events from last night, and where everybody slept and all of that stuff, and just to get back into the written flow, even though there was no dream to record. And then I went ahead and just to record where I am with the cravings and the addiction, which is I'm at 6 days, almost 7 days clear, and cravings they're still there, obviously, and I went very far that last time, as people have kind of seen. I'm very far into shadows, so I'm making my way back gradually, but I'm still, cravings they're bearable. So, and I'm doing all the stuff with the kids and getting back to routines. I'm going to go out to have my Thai fish cake lunch, which, as my cat rescuer friend said, it's important to have routines, and that's my Friday routine. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to go look at some faucets, because my contractor is ready to get back to work on the house, and he knows that I've still got stuff to do, and he knows that is a good rechanneling for me. So he's kind of given me stuff, a list, and he says don't buy it all at once, because that way you can stretch it out over a few days. It'll give you something to do, to focus on. So he's helping, which is good, So I'm like, he's helping in more ways than one. So I'm going to go. Today's thing is to look at kitchen sinks, and I may have, and a faucet for the kitchen. I may or may not buy. I'll see what's available today, and then I can go again in a couple of times and see what's around, check out. So I used to do that quite a bit. I had houses in Niagara and then in the country and here. It's something that it's something I sort of enjoy doing. So that's something to focus. So anyway, bye for now.